recording. And SQL queries and where we can execute. And we have seen some of the keywords to write SQL queries. And SQL is what we call it as a Salesforce Object Query Language. And this is used to fetch the data from a Salesforce database. And this is what the basic syntax. It should need what are the fields that we need to fetch from the object and what is the object, so we can write the query in a single object. There is option to query from a related objects as well, like either parent or child, but obviously the output will be from a single object. We can query the data from a single object using a Salesforce Object Query Language. And where we have like other optional part of the query as well, that where conditions, groupings, have having, order by, for update, limit, offset, and all those. So all we explain like what are all these keywords and when we use and all we discussed, and what are the places that we execute this SQL queries. So anonymous window we have seen, query editor, workbench, all we have seen, and Apex classes and triggers. And this will be we're going to discuss when we are going to discuss the class and trigger. And this was the advanced topic of a visual force page. I will let you know once we are having more type into the VF page. And there are like some keywords we use to add the conditions and to sort the order, to sort the list that we get um, from the SQL queries, order by use. And there are some operators when we have a conditions like in, like, and, or, and not. You will also have seen, and all of this being covered. So today will be mostly focusing on a group by. So a group by actually what it does, if you take a standard Salesforce reports, we have a tabular and summary reports, right? It's similar to a summary report. And when we're giving any field and saying that that has to be grouped by, what it will do was it will group the unique values in that field and return only one value that is having a unique data. Let's say, I think somewhere we have seen the example. If you have anything called a project stage or the status, let's say we have like a not started, started, completed, and terminated. So how many like it's not all values from the pick list, but let's say if you have 10 pick lists but you have a data that is from a 2 or 3 values, then your aggregate data will be what is your data in your table, and in those data what are the unique values, only that will be grouped. It's not like what are all possible values from your field. It is from the completely from the data. What is the data that you're having, only that values will be written in the aggregate data. Similarly, whatever we doing on the Soql query. Sorry, any question?
Bala, can you please repeat again?
Yeah. So let's say this is a project status. So usually like in project status, it's a pick list field. And if you're having like 10 fields, sorry, not 10 fields, 10 values in the pick list. Let's say started, not started, completed, terminated, in progress, rejected, approved, and all. But you're having a record data, which is only with the 2 or 3 values. Then when you're writing an aggregate query, what it does, it will only summarize the data what you're having, not the all pick list values from the object, because it's a metadata, it's not the data. So all SQL queries, what it does, it will only do what it is having the data in the object. So if you have 2 records, it will return only 2 records. And when you group by any field in the object, what are the records you're having, it will summarize only that data. because if the field is having 10 pick list values and you're having only records with the 2 pick list values, then the result will be only with the 2 values. Why? Because you're having only data with the 2 values only, not with the 10 values. Okay. So Soql query, what it does, it only reads the data, not the metadata. Is that clear?
Yes, Bala.
No. So we have seen like in the group by whatever field you give, it will only return the unique values of it. Let's say the same value having multiple records. Let's say we will go with some example, then it will be more understandable. Sorry, 1 second, I'm sharing my screen. Let me know if you see my screen.
Yes.
Okay. Now we know already seen like what is the workbench and all. So we can use to write the Soql queries also in workbench, which will be an easy way to see the data and writing a query in one place. That's why I'm going to use a workbench for now to show the queries. So group queries. First of all, I will take one object that we created called project object. So in that we have like a stage. So I have total 46 records over here, and we have different values. And some of the values are repeated, some of the values are blank. Now, what I want to see, I want to see what are all the unique values of the stage. Then what I will do was I'll use a group by the field. Then what it will do, it will only return the unique values. And in query, you see like a simple table, but when we're dealing with the core, the return type of a group query is going to be a aggregate data. That is a new data type that that will be assigned to the sorry, it will be assigned to the group query result. Now that we'll see like when we're writing a code. So first of all, if you understand when we do a group by, what will happen, it will only return the unique values of the field what we are grouping. If you see here, how many values? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 values we having. So here also we have a 9 values, but one value is a blank. There is one value which is not being used. Let's say recalled. Recalled is there. Pending for approval is not. Pending for approval is not there. But actually the value is there, but I don't see the why, because there is no record with that stage. That's why I don't see that value. Okay. Now, along with the stage, I want to see how many records being in that stage. So we have some aggregate functions. So if we look at here, the aggregate functions that we have is these ones. Count, maximum, minimum, average, sum, and a distinct count or count distinct. These are what the aggregate functions that we have. So when we do a count on which field we want to count. So let's say I want to count the ID field and do a query. So along with the stage, what I will get is I will get a count of the query as well. Sorry, count of that particular stage. Let's say if I have each stage and what is the records in each stage. Let's say in the blank I have 2 records and not started I have 4, recalled 1, approved 8. So this is the count. So in simple terms, the aggregate function of count and its return type is a integer data type. Okay, and let's say what other fields we have in this object. I want to summarize some values. Let's say for each stage, do we have anything called revenue? Yeah, we have revenue, right? For each stage, what is the total revenue that we are having? So I want to see the field sum of revenue in each stage. Okay, so if you see, there's a possibility, there's a possibility when we are doing a sum, the data could be a decimal values. The return type of the sum aggregate result is a decimal data type. And similarly, max and min also will be having a data type of as a decimal only. But if you know, like when we can do this operation like max, min, sum, when it is some numerical value, right? So the field type should be it should be a currency or a number or what currency number or like percentage or like a number, anything that is a numerical value that we can store. The internally the Salesforce fields will be of a decimal data type. So the return types also will be a decimal data type when we're doing aggregates. And similarly, if we have like max or min also, you will be having a similar thing. Let's say if you want to see the max or if you want to see the minimum. And if you observe, the column labels are coming as a unknown fields. So when we are not naming those, they can be extracted using the index of it. So first group value will, so anyway, the fields that you're grouping will be the same name as what the grouping you are giving. And if you're having any data that you're trying to summarize, those will be first value will be indexed as 0 and then 1, 2, 3. The default index will be 0, 1, 2, 3. And if you want to, or if you don't want to like show it as unknown and you want to give some label to it, I can give like record count. These are like kind of alias, we can say alias names. So using these names also, we can extract the data. So when we having an aggregate result and we are trying to extract it, we can use this alias names to extract the data from an aggregate result or using an index. So when we write the code in Apex, it will be more clear. So don't worry about that. And now, next one, I think we had count, sum, max, minimum, and average. And we have one more is, so if you see all values are different unless if you don't have um, kind of different values, it will be like, we can see this is what sum is, and this is the max value, this is the min value, this is the average value. And we have one more called count distinct. Count distinct of, let's take any field which would be let's say I want to see the state. So here, if you see, even though we have like 4 records, all of 4 is having the same state. That's why we see only one value over here. And recall, I think maybe it is blank. That's why it's giving a 0 records. And over here 6, there are only 2 values. So it will give only the unique values of it. And if you have no value in it, it will be considered as a 0. Okay, so far clear. Can we jump and write some examples so that, and we have like a static and dynamic queries also can be shown while writing the code.
Quick question, Bala. If you can go back to the table really quick, I noticed the min and max value are same. It's a column 3 and column 4, right? Min and max.
Min and max, okay.
So, how come they are same?
Then maybe we having the same data.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe, okay. Let's quickly check so that it'll be clear. Yeah, just I will do a order by so that we can see. Mostly we clone the data, right? That's why.
Mm.
And what's the other field? The revenue field, right? So here, this one, right? First record, which are blank values. So blank values having one is exponential, one is normal. Total we have 6 places. We'll open the record and see so that we can identify exactly what is the data. So recall we have, okay, I'll check these 2 values. Why we're having expression here. So not started, all are blank. Recall we have only one value. Approved, we have only one value is 10,000. So max or min both will be the same. So it will not consider the blank values as a 0. If it's having exactly 0 value, then only it will be considered 0 as a minimum. If it is blank, it will be not considered. So started, we have only one value. In progress, we don't have values. Rejected, we don't have values. Completed, we have only one value is at 20,000. Okay. Now, so we have 2 records and see the values. So we have revenue is 350,005. 350,005 and 555. So this is the max value and this is the min value. So we have so sum and max are same and min is different. If you see here, the max value is in the max and min value is the minimum value. So
Mhm.
remaining, we have only single data. That's why we have the same values in all the
Okay.
places. Okay, and let's write some examples. SOQL example. Okay, so we'll write some examples over here. First, we'll see what are all the different ways of writing. Well, first we'll write a simple query and display the data over the view of page, and then we'll check differently. Okay, let's say the account object, which is a standard object example. We will query some data with all the keywords and we'll check it out. Okay, so I want to have a one public list so that I can display the data in a table in my VF page. So I want to have a account list saying account list, and which should have a get and set methods. Okay, then only I can read this value in the VF page. Okay, I have this one, and then I want to extract some data from an account object and I want to display. So how I can extract the data in simply I can write the SOQL query. So how the syntax would be? It would be initialized with the square brackets. In square brackets, let's say I want to select from object name is a account. So here I have to give some field names, whatever the fields I want to give. Let's say I want to give name, industry, and I guess revenue also we have. So I have all these three fields and I want to extract this field from a account object. Okay, the query is ready. So if you have observed, um, when we having a return data from a Soql query, we will assign it to the list of as object, not to the set. We don't have a revenue is not there. Okay, let me quickly see what are the fields available over here. Name we have, and we have a type. Maybe annual revenue, the field name is annual revenue. Type also will add. Okay, so if you see the output of the Soql query, we are able to assign it to the list of records. So let's say if you can, let's check out whether we can assign it to the set of accounts or not. So I was trying to assign it to the same result to the account set and see whether we are able to do it or not. Sorry, we cannot assign. So we can add the list to the set. So we can have a set, but we cannot directly assign the Soql query result to a set. We can assign only to a list. So the other way how we can do here was we can convert this list to a set. How we can convert? We can initialize it as a new set, and then in brackets we can pass a list or set, right? So this way we can like, this is nothing but a conversion. So we can initialize a set with the excuse me, we can initialize a set with the set or a list. So what we are doing here, we are creating a new set of accounts, and in the function we are passing a list so that it will be converted to a set. Similarly, we can assign to a map of data also. So map so when we assigning a object data to a map, there will be two data types, right? For key we should give one data type, and value we have to give a one data type. But when we having S object data type, how the map will be defined is the Salesforce record ID will be taken as a key. Why? Because that is the unique value in the data in the object. That is one data type followed by the S object type. So this is what the variable type. And if you directly give also, I think you will get the error. You may need to mention similarly what we have mentioned in the above. Again, we have same problem. So what we have to do, we need to convert this to a map. So here, new map of ID comma account. Then we have to convert this list to a map. So this will be supported only for the S object. So we can convert the list to a map. If you have a normal list, we cannot convert it. Okay. Okay. So this is what the different data types that we can get from a Soql query. So if it's a list, you can directly assign. If it is a set or a map, you need to add this constructor to assign the value from a Soql query to a set or a map. Okay, fine. So far we're good, and we have some data in this list. So how we can display? I think somewhere we also only had displaying the page block table also we have seen, but let's look at again. So have this controller, and what should be the first tag? Apex form. Apex form, then we'll have Apex page block. After Apex page block, I will be having a Apex page block table. So when we having Apex page block table, what are the values in what are the parameters that will be having the data value, which will be storing the what you having a array or collection, whatever it is, you will be mentioning in the value. So I have a account list, so I'm going to mention it over here. So okay, I have a table. So this is also kind of a loop only. So what it does is it will take this list and iterate the values over the block inside it. So whatever that you're having inside the page block, it will the data or the array that you're having that will be repeated over here in the inside block. And so we should have a we should have a variable that will be like copied each value from this list and passed to the inside block. That is the variable called a var. So here we can declare the variable here, the temporary object account, we can say account object. So this will be having each record in this list. Okay, so we having a standard tag inside the page block table is a apex column. So in the apex column, we can mention the whatever the field that you are having, or like that you are trying to display over here, field or a value. So that we are going to display here is a ACC object. This is the local variable dot your like field value. So I'm going to have a name here. There's one column. So I think we have 3 or 4 column or fields that we extracted, right? So we can extract, or like we can place all those fields. One is name, next is type, and then industry, followed by annual revenue. Okay, now I have a table data also ready. Let's preview and see how it looks. Okay, now I have 4 columns data, and then 4 columns I see the all the data. If you have observed, I have not mentioned anything like whether it's a currency data type or a pick list or anything. It's all are like a table output only. When we having this apex column being used inside the page block table, that will take care of the field formattings. So we need to worry about it. So similarly, the page block table, we have one more tag that will be used to loop in a Visualforce page. So that is a apex repeat. So in the apex repeat also, we can do the similar thing, but this is not like come with all this formatting and all. It will not come with this all formatting. It's just a repeat. Whatever there in your repeat block, that will be repeated. It will be not having any of the styles, or it will be not having any of the formatting. It will be nothing. It will be just a logical operator to repeat the code inside your repeat. Okay, so in the apex repeat, I'm going to again have a value which will be exactly same as the account. As I want to try to show you the how it will be different from a page block table. So again, I'm having an account object. So we don't have any specific tags like apex column, and even if you try to give like apex column also, it will be not supported. So it's not allowed. This apex column tag is not allowed in a apex repeat. Okay, so what we can do here,